The crystal decanter shattered against the floor-to-ceiling window, whiskey bleeding across Italian marble like spilled secrets. Kang Min-jun didn't even blink. His two closest advisors, T and Hyun, did though. They stood frozen, watching the blonde woman stumble toward the door, her Valentino dress clutched against her chest like a shield. "I'm so sorry," she gasped, mascara streaking her face. "You're perfect, but I can't do this. You're too exceptional." Min-jun's expression hardened to stone. She nearly twisted her ankle, yanking on her Laobaotins. Someone could get seriously injured. Then she was gone. The door slammed with enough force to rattle the penthouse windows. Silence filled the space afterward, thick and suffocating, the kind that makes breathing feel like an admission of defeat. Min-jun reached for another glass, poured himself scotch with trembling hands, not from fear. From pure, concentrated rage and shame. That made 8 women in 4 months. 8 different excuses wrapped in designer perfume and nervous laughter. But every single one translated to the same brutal truth. Something about him was fundamentally wrong. Not the whispers people spread, not the reputation that preceded him, but wrong enough that every woman fled the moment intimacy became inevitable. His phone vibrated across the marble counter. T's name lit up the screen. Min-jun stared at it like it had personally offended him. "Boss," T said the instant he answered, "we've got movement. Volkov's crew showed up at the warehouse. We need you here immediately." Min-jun's nostrils flared. He didn't respond. He just hurled the phone across the room where it skittered near the broken decanter. For once, his empire could survive without him micromanaging every crisis. He drained his glass and poured another, staring out at Manhattan's glittering lights like they were personally mocking his existence. Then his mind, relentless and cruel, dragged him backward. Back to 4 days ago. Back to when he'd actually believed things might change. 4 days ago, hope had felt possible. He'd been in his private office at the Azure Dragon Casino, analyzing profit margins and behavioral patterns like always. T had walked in wearing that specific grin that always meant trouble brewing. "Boss," T said, dropping into the chair uninvited. "You need to see the new performer at Voltage." Min-jun didn't look up. Not interested. "Come on, man. You've been buried in this office for weeks. When's the last time you even attempted?" Min-jun's pen stopped moving. 3 weeks ago, he muttered quietly. T leaned forward. "And that corporate attorney? What happened there?" Min-jun's mouth pressed into a hard line. The exact same thing that always happens. T went silent. He was one of only 3 people who knew about Min-jun's condition. The curse that made him look like wealth and power personified, built like Korean cinema's ideal leading man, yet left him more isolated than anyone deserved. "Boss," T said softer now, "you can't just give up. Someone's out there somewhere. Drop it," Min-jun snapped coldly. T didn't. He pushed and prodded until Min-jun finally agreed just to shut him up. So that night, Kang Min-jun walked into Voltage wearing a Tom Ford suit worth more than most people's yearly salary, looking like he owned gravity itself. The club pulsed with energy. Wall Street money, international players, expensive cologne masking dangerous intentions. Purple lights strobed. Bass thumped like a racing heartbeat. Women moved through the crowd like predators hunting prey. T guided him to VIP. "Table 9, he said. Min-jun ordered. Whiskey and tried, ignoring the emptiness inside him that no amount of money ever managed to touch. He'd built an empire before 30. Power, fear, respect. And he still couldn't keep a woman once things became real. Then the lights dropped. A spotlight hit the stage and the DJ's voice boomed. "Give it up for Zara Jackson." When she stepped out, Min-jun forgot how to breathe properly. She moved like liquid grace, smooth, intentional, unbothered. Dark skin glowing under stage lights like polished mahogany. Her eyes didn't plead. They didn't seduce. They commanded like she understood exactly who she was and didn't need anyone's permission to exist powerfully. T leaned in whispering, "That's her. Zara. Been here maybe 3 months. Every man in Manhattan tries buying a private dance. Nobody gets one unless she decides they're worthy." Min-jun watched her move around the pole like physics was negotiable. But it wasn't just attraction that hit him, it was recognition. She carried that same look he saw in his own reflection, the look of someone who survived things designed to destroy them completely. When her set ended, she stepped off stage and headed toward the bar. Min-jun stood without conscious thought. "Boss," T called out. "Where are you going?" Min-jun didn't answer. He cut through the crowd like water parting, heart pounding with urgency he hadn't felt in years. At At the bar, she was ordering sparkling water, back turned. Min-jun spoke anyway. "Can I buy you something stronger?" She turned slowly, and when her gaze landed on him, it felt like being assessed by something dangerously intelligent. "I don't drink while working," she said evenly. "And I don't do private dances for strangers if that's your angle here." "It's not," Min-jun said. "Not tonight anyway." She tilted her head slightly. "Then what exactly do you want?" He smiled, controlled and precise. 5 minutes of actual conversation. Her eyes narrowed. He could see calculations happening behind them. Risk assessment, opportunity analysis, danger evaluation. Finally, she gestured toward a darkened booth. 5 minutes, she said. Clock's already ticking. They sat closer than strangers should. She was even more breathtaking up close, but her eyes hooked him deepest. They were ancient eyes that had shouldered weight far too early. "You're Kang Min-jun," she said. Statement, not question. "You know who I am then." "Everyone knows who you are," she leaned back casually. "Real question is why Manhattan's most feared Korean boss is sitting in a strip club looking like life kicked him repeatedly in the throat." Min-jun let out a surprised laugh. "Am I that transparent?" "You look like you're searching for something you've stopped believing exists," she said simply. He studied her carefully. "You always talk like this. I read people," she said. "It's survival." Then she leaned forward, voice dropping. "So what is it really? Money, power, can't be those." Her gaze sharpened perceptibly. "Men like you want what money can't buy, and you can't buy connection." The words landed so cleanly they almost hurt. She stood abruptly. "Your 5 minutes are finished." "Wait." Min-jun pulled a card from his wallet and slid it across the table. "Dinner tomorrow. Anywhere you choose." No expectations attached. She stared at it like it might explode. "Why would I?" "Because you've been more genuine with me in 5 minutes than anyone's managed in months. And because I think you're exhausted from pretending too." She took the card, fingers brushing his briefly. "One dinner," she said firmly. "But I'm carrying pepper spray and my aim's excellent. I'd be disappointed if you weren't prepared." She walked away, and for the first time in forever, Min-jun felt something dangerous bloom in his chest. Hope. Stupid, reckless hope. He had absolutely no idea that one dinner would trigger a chain reaction, leaving bodies scattered. His organization fractured, and both their lives suspended over flames. The next evening, Min-jun waited outside Le Bernardin, one of those restaurants where wealthy people felt like temporary royalty. He checked his watch for the 4th time. 7:50. 20 minutes late. He was beginning to believe she'd changed her mind. Then a yellow cab appeared. Zara stepped out wearing a simple black dress that somehow made her look more expensive than every designer-clad woman passing by. She approached with the same confidence from the club, except her hand gripped her purse slightly too tight. "You actually showed up," Min-jun said. "I almost didn't," she admitted, glancing at the entrance. "This place has like an 8-month waiting list, supposedly." He smirked slightly. "Not for me, it doesn't." "Yeah," she said, "because you're you." There was something in her voice he couldn't quite identify. Not admiration, not mockery. Something cautious and aware. Inside, the host practically bowed, escorting them to a private table overlooking Central Park perfectly. Min-jun ordered wine. Zara ordered water again. "You really don't drink ever?" he asked curiously. "My mother drank herself to death," she said, like reciting weather facts. "By 16, I'd seen enough destruction." Min-jun's expression softened visibly. "I'm sorry that happened." "Don't be," she shrugged. "It made me who I am now." She closed her menu decisively. "So," she said, eyes locked on him. "What's your damage exactly?" Min-jun blinked. "Excuse me. Nobody sits alone in a strip club looking like that unless they're running from something heavy," she said. "So tell me." He laughed under his breath. "You don't waste time on small talk. Life's short. Small talk is basically fraud." He liked that. God help him, he liked everything about her. "What do you want to know?" he asked. "Why New York's most eligible bachelor can't keep a woman longer than 30 days. The blogs are absolutely hilarious. Some say you're gay, some say you're secretly married. One claimed you're a vampire, literally. And what do you think?" Min-jun asked carefully. She leaned in, eyes steady and clear. "I think you've got a secret that scares women away consistently." Min-jun's throat tightened noticeably. The waiter arrived with appetizers, temporarily saving him from answering too quickly. They ate in silence briefly, but she kept watching him patiently, waiting. Finally, Min-jun said, "You're right, it's physical in nature." "How physical?" she asked directly. He hesitated. He'd told doctors, specialists, one therapist he'd fired after 2 sessions, but never like this. "Complicated enough," he said quietly. That 8 women have walked out on me in the last 4 months alone. Zara didn't flinch, didn't look away once. And you think I'll be different somehow? I don't know, honestly, he admitted. Maybe you don't scare easily. Don't confuse fearless with stupid, she said. I'm neither one. Then she set her fork down deliberately. But here's the deal. You tell me the truth about what we're doing here, and I'll decide if I'm staying or walking away. Min-jun inhaled slowly, carefully. I'm tired of being alone, he said. I'm tired of women who want the money, the danger, the power fantasy. I saw you on that stage, and I saw someone real, someone who understands what survival actually costs. Zara stared at him quietly. Then she spoke. My truth, she said. I dance because it pays for my nursing degree, 1 semester remaining. That genuinely surprised him. I moved from Atlanta with $200 and a dream. I'm not looking for a savior. I'm not looking for a sugar daddy either. Then she paused and softened slightly. But I wouldn't mind someone seeing me as more than a body for once. Min-jun nodded slowly. I can do that. She raised a skeptical brow. Can you really? Men like you are used to owning everything they touch. I don't want to own you. Then what do you want exactly? He reached across the table, stopping just short of touching her hand. A chance, he said. Just one honest chance. Zara stared at his hand. Then she placed hers in his palm. 1 chance, she said. But the second you lie to me, the second you try controlling me, I'm gone permanently. Understood completely. They finished dinner talking about everything except the tension building between them gradually. She told him about Atlanta, about the aunt who raised her, about nights she cried silently so nobody would hear her breaking. He told her about building his organization from nothing, about violence that rewired his brain permanently, about loneliness that came with being feared universally. By dessert, he realized he hadn't thought about his problem once in 2 hours. He was too busy being fascinated by her completely. Outside the restaurant, she smiled genuinely. So what now? She asked. You take me back to your penthouse and we see if your complication is as bad as you think it is. Heat climbed Min-jun's neck visibly. I wasn't assuming anything. Relax, she said, laughing. I'm messing with you obviously, but her eyes held something else. Curiosity, challenge. Eventually, she said, stepping closer. We have to address the elephant in the room directly. Then she smirked. Or should I say the elephant in your pants specifically? Min-jun couldn't help it. He laughed genuinely. You're impossible and you love it. She leaned in, perfume wrapping around him. Here's what's going to happen. You're taking me to my apartment in Queens tonight. He blinked. Queens? We're taking this slow, she said, because rushing won't help whatever you're scared of fundamentally. She kissed his cheek softly. But not tonight. Tonight you go home and decide if you're ready for someone who doesn't run away. Then she turned, hailed a cab, and climbed inside. Min-jun watched her go like a man watching the only warm light disappear into winter darkness. His phone buzzed. T. Boss, T said, voice tight and urgent. We've got a situation developing. Min-jun's chest tightened. What kind? Volkov's nephew is dead, found in the Hudson River. They're claiming it was us. Min-jun's blood went ice cold. I didn't authorize anything remotely like that, he snapped. I know, T said. Someone's setting us up deliberately. Min-jun looked at the cab disappearing down the street. Zara glanced back through the window, smiled, waved. And in that moment, he knew his 2 worlds were about to collide violently. He made a decision instantly. He'd handle Volkov. He'd find the snake trying to start a war. But he wouldn't let the darkness touch her. Not her. T, Min-jun said, already moving. Round up the captains. Emergency meeting at the warehouse in 1 hour exactly. Yes, boss. And get Marcus pulling footage from every camera within 5 blocks of where they found the body, Min-jun added. Someone's playing games. I want a name. The next 2 days were absolute fire. Meetings, threats, negotiations sharp enough to draw blood. The Russians wanted revenge. Min-jun had to prove innocence while hunting the real killer simultaneously. It ended up being one of his own men, a hothead named Danny who'd been skimming gambling profits and panicked when the Russians started pressing harder. Min-jun had Danny delivered in a trunk. Message received clearly. The Russians accepted it barely, but trust was shattered and everyone could feel it. Through all of it, Zara texted him. Nothing heavy, just small things that made him smile despite the chaos surrounding him. A photo of her cat curled up like a cinnamon roll, a complaint about her pharmacology professor, a meme so stupid it made him laugh during a tense meeting. On the 3rd night, she called him. You've been quiet lately, she said. Work got complicated. The kind of complicated where people die, she asked calmly. Min-jun froze completely. What do you know about my work exactly? Min-jun, she corrected herself. I'm not stupid. I knew what you were the second I saw you standing there. Her voice stayed steady. The question is, are you going to lie about it or respect me enough to tell the truth? Min-jun sank onto his couch, exhaustion crushing him. I'm not a good man, he said. Did I ask if you were good? She shot back. I asked if you were honest with me. He swallowed hard. Yes, he admitted. The kind of complicated where people die. Someone tried starting a war with the Russians deliberately. A brief pause. Are you safe currently? She asked. For now anyway. Then come over, she said. I'm cooking and you sound like you've been living off takeout and stress exclusively. He shouldn't have gone. He had fires everywhere. But he ended up in Queens anyway somehow. Her apartment was modest and spotless. Books everywhere. Nursing textbooks stacked like bricks on the coffee table, and the smell coming from the kitchen made him realize how long it had been since anything felt remotely like home. Sit, she ordered. Food's almost ready. She served him jerk chicken, rice and peas, plantains. My aunt's recipe, not fancy but real. They ate on the couch watching some cooking competition show she was obsessed with. And for the first time in years, Min-jun felt normal. Human. After dinner, he looked at her carefully. Thank you, he said. For what exactly? For not running, he said. For not treating me like a monster automatically. She studied him seriously. Min-jun, she said softer, I grew up around men like you. My uncle was in the life before he got locked up permanently. I know what the game costs people. She leaned closer. But if we're doing this, we're doing it as equals. I'm not here to save you. I'm not your escape route. Min-jun nodded slowly. I can live with that arrangement, he said. Good, she said. Because eventually we have to deal with your complication directly. His chest tightened again painfully. He looked away. It's not that I don't want to, he said quietly. I do more than you know actually. Then his voice dropped lower. But every woman who's seen it leaves immediately. Zara touched his face gently. Then tonight, she whispered. We're just two people on a couch. No pressure, no expectations whatsoever. He exhaled like he'd been holding his breath for years. Okay, he said. She kissed him slow and deliberate, and something inside him cracked open. Something he'd buried so deep he forgot it existed anymore. They didn't rush anything. They talked, kissed. Existed in a bubble, where the streets didn't matter at all. He left at dawn feeling lighter than air. Then his phone rang. Boss, T said, voice grim and serious. We've got a problem developing. Min-jun's stomach sank. What now? It's about the girl, T said. I did some digging like you asked, just to make sure she was clean. Min-jun's grip tightened on the steering wheel. And what? Boss, T continued. She's not who she says she is. The world tilted sideways. What the hell are you talking about? Min-jun snapped. Pull over, T said. You need to sit down for this information. Min-jun pulled onto a side street, parked hard, knuckles white. Talk now. T's voice turned colder. Her real name is Zara Jackson, that part's true. But 3 years ago, she wasn't just a broke girl chasing dreams innocently. Min-jun's throat went dry. She was running from a murder charge, T said. Min-jun's mind rejected it instantly. No, he said, that's impossible. I've got the police report right here, T replied. Her boyfriend at the time, Marcus Webb, found dead in their apartment, gunshot to the chest. She vanished that same night. Min-jun's heart pounded. If there was a warrant, why wasn't she picked up? He demanded. That's the part that gets weird, T said. The warrant got dropped 6 months later. Case went cold. The family stopped cooperating entirely. Min-jun swallowed hard, so someone made it disappear, exactly, T said. And there's more to it. Marcus wasn't just some boyfriend. He was connected. Low-level muscle for the disciples in Atlanta. Min-jun's blood ran colder. And 2 weeks before he died, T added he was seen meeting FBI agents. Min-jun felt sick. You think she's a Fed? He asked. I think she's something, T said. Agent, witness, killer, whatever it is, she lied to you. Min-jun's phone buzzed with incoming files, crime scene photos. A younger Zara standing beside a man with dead eyes and tattoos crawling up his arms. Then his phone rang again. Zara. He stared at her name like it was a weapon. Finally, he answered. Good morning, she said warmly. I know you just left, but I can't stop thinking about last night honestly. We need to talk, Min-jun cut in. Her tone changed instantly. What's wrong? Not over the phone, Min-jun said. Meet me at the warehouse on Delancey in 1 hour. Min-jun, you're scaring me. 1 hour, he said, voice turning sharp. Or whatever your real name is. He hung up. When she arrived, he was waiting with tea and 2 men. Zara stepped inside in jeans and a leather jacket, hair pulled back. She stopped the moment she saw the room set up. Her hand drifted toward her purse. Don't, T warned. Zara's eyes snapped to Min-jun. What the hell is this? Min-jun held up his phone, showing her the report. Tell me about Marcus Webb. Her color drained completely from her face. For a long moment, she just stared. Then she whispered, can we do this in private? No, Min-jun said coldly. You lied to me. You don't get private. Her jaw tightened. She looked at T, the men, then back at Min-jun. Fine, she said. You want the truth. Marcus was my boyfriend. She swallowed, and yes, I killed him. The warehouse went silent. But he was going to kill me first, she said, voice shaking despite her effort to keep it steady. I found out he was working with the FBI. He was going to testify against the disciples for protection. She laughed bitterly. But the disciples found out first. People came to our apartment. Marcus panicked completely. Her eyes flashed. He decided if he killed me and delivered my body, they'd forgive him. T scoffed, so you shot him. Zara snapped her gaze to him. He shot me first, actually. Then she lifted her shirt, revealing a scar along her ribs. He missed anything vital, but I went down hard. He stood over me about to finish it. I grabbed his ankle. He fell. Gun went off. Bullet went into his chest. Min-jun stared at the scar, nausea rising. And then you ran, he said. And then I ran, she whispered. I was 19, bleeding, with a dead man on the floor and gang members coming. She swallowed hard. I got patched up somewhere that didn't ask questions and disappeared completely. Min-jun's voice sharpened. And the warrant, how did it get dropped? Zara's mouth twisted. Marcus's sister, Kenya. She told police it was self-defense, refused to cooperate. Without me there, the DA couldn't build a case. T glanced at his tablet. It checks out. But Min-jun wasn't done. If it was self-defense, why not go to the police? Zara's eyes burned. Because I'm a black girl from the hood who killed her boyfriend. And he was about to be a federal witness. You think any jury would believe me? You think the disciples would let me live long enough to testify? Min-jun's face hardened. You lied to me. And you didn't. What about your complication? How long were you going to hide that? Until I found out the hard way. That's different, Min-jun snapped. How? She challenged. We both have ghosts. We both have secrets. Then she leaned closer, eyes flashing. You sent your people to investigate me behind my back. You killed someone. Have you? She shouted. Don't act holy. You run an organization built on violence. You order pain like it's paperwork. The words echoed. T shifted awkwardly. Min-jun felt his moral high ground crumble like ash. Zara's voice dropped. I didn't target you. You came to me. You asked for 5 minutes. Min-jun stared at her, anger warring with something worse. Understanding, because he saw it. That raw survival in her eyes. The same survival he carried daily. Everyone out, Min-jun said. T hesitated. Boss. Out, Min-jun shouted. T and the others filed out. The warehouse became a vast hollow space with just the two of them and all their secrets exposed. I should have told you, Zara said quietly, before it got serious. Why didn't you? Because I was afraid you'd look at me like I'm broken, she whispered. Her eyes shined. I am broken. Min-jun's throat tightened. She stepped closer. I'm not your enemy, she said. I'm just a girl trying to outrun her past, same as you. Min-jun closed his eyes. Every instinct told him to cut her loose. But the quieter voice, the one that sounded like loneliness, whispered he'd never find anyone who understood him like this. No more lies, he said, about anything. Zara nodded. Same goes for you, he swallowed. Then finally he said it. It's my size, Min-jun admitted, voice low. I'm too big. And women panic. They say it won't fit. They'll get hurt. And they're not wrong. Zara blinked, processing. Then she did something that made him almost laugh from sheer disbelief. She went clinical. How big are we talking? She asked. Min-jun stared. Seriously, I'm going to be a nurse, she said. I've seen bodies all kinds, so yes, seriously. Min-jun exhaled hard. Big enough regular condoms don't fit, he said. Big enough foreplay isn't enough. Patience isn't enough. It just doesn't work. Zara was quiet for a beat. Then she took his hands. Listen to me. She said, I've survived worse than a physical challenge. I'm not running because of biology. His chest tightened. We'll figure it out, she said firmly, like adults with communication. Min-jun stared at her like he didn't deserve her. Then she kissed him hard, desperate, like she was sealing a vow. And Min-jun let the last of his resistance die. They left the warehouse together, his arm around her shoulders. For the first time in years, his secret felt lighter, shared. Then his phone buzzed. Marcus, boss, Marcus said. We've got movement. Volkov's meeting with the Bratva tonight. Word is they're planning something big. Min-jun's good mood evaporated. He looked at Zara. I have to handle something, he said. Dangerous business, she replied, reading him. He nodded. She squeezed his hand. Be careful. I didn't go through all that just to lose you to a bullet. He kissed her forehead and walked to his car. He didn't see the black SUV across the street. Didn't notice the camera lens. Trained on him and Zara. Didn't know someone was documenting everything. And he definitely didn't know that by morning, photos of them would be sitting on a desk inside FBI headquarters in Manhattan. Agents stared at the images like Christmas came early. After 3 years, they'd finally found Zara Jackson. And as a bonus, she was attached to one of the biggest Korean organized crime targets in New York. Agent Lisa Chen picked up her phone. "Sir," she said, voice sharp with satisfaction. "Going to want to see this. Our missing witness just resurfaced." A pause, and you'll never guess who she's dating. The wheels started turning. The trap started closing. And neither Min-jun nor Zara had any idea their past was about to slam into their present, forcing an impossible choice. Betray each other or burn together. Min-jun didn't sleep that night. He stayed in his Chinatown office coordinating surveillance on the Volkov meeting, replaying Zara's confession in his head. No guilt, no shame, just survival. He understood it more than he wanted to. Around 3 in the morning, T stormed in. "Boss, we've got a problem." Min-jun looked up. "What now?" "The Bratva meeting," T said. "It wasn't about us." Min-jun frowned. "Explain." "They're planning a hit, but not on our people." Min-jun's spine went cold. "On who?" T swallowed. "Atlanta. A woman named Kenya Webb." The room tilted. "Marcus's sister." "Yeah," T said. "The disciples found out she helped Zara escape. They sold the info to Volkov as goodwill. Volkov's sending people to Atlanta tomorrow night." Min-jun stood so fast his chair fell back. "He knows about Zara," Min-jun growled. T pulled out his phone and showed him photos. Min-jun and Zara leaving the warehouse, kissing outside her building, dinner at Le Bernardin. Time-stamped. "Someone's been watching you," T said grimly. "They sent these to Volkov yesterday." Min-jun's mind snapped into action. "This is revenge for the nephew," he said. "He never forgave me for Danny." T nodded grimly. "He's going after her through Kenya." Min-jun grabbed his jacket. "Get everyone," he ordered. "Captains, soldiers, only people we trust." T's eyes widened. "Boss, Atlanta's disciples' territory. Then we start a war," Min-jun said. "I'm not letting him touch her family." "Call Zara," Min-jun added. "She needs to know." T dialed. Straight to voicemail. Again and again. Min-jun's stomach sank. "Send someone to her apartment now." 20 minutes later, the call came. "Boss," the voice said. "She's not here. Place looks like she left." Fast, drawers open, closet half empty. Min-jun's blood turned to ice. "Her cat's gone too," the guy added. Min-jun felt punched. "She ran," T said quietly. Min-jun shook his head. Something didn't fit. Zara wasn't a runner. She'd stood in the warehouse and confessed to murder rather than lie. So why disappear now, unless someone made her? His phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "We have your girlfriend. Come alone to Pier 34 in 1 hour or we start mailing her back in pieces. Tell anyone and she dies." T read over his shoulder. "It's a trap," T said immediately. Min-jun was already moving. "I'm not leaving her with them," he snapped. "Boss, listen," T said, stepping in front of him. "This is Volkov's play. He takes you out and the girl makes it look messy and our whole organization collapses." Min-jun stopped. T was right. So Min-jun forced himself to breathe. "What do you suggest?" he asked. T's smile was cold. "We give him what he expects." T said, "You show up alone and desperate." He leaned in. "And what he won't expect is the 20 men we position around that pier. He'll have lookouts," Min-jun said. "Then we get creative," T replied. The next 40 minutes were planning, precision, controlled violence. Snipers on rooftops, a team in the water under the pier. Min-jun walking in as bait. When Min-jun arrived at Pier 34, the dock looked dead. Rusted containers, broken concrete, salt air heavy with rot. A single light glowed at the end. A young man stood there with gun like it was nothing. Not Volkov, just a messenger. "Where is she?" Min-jun called out. The man smirked. "Walk to me slow, hands where I can see them." Min-jun moved forward, nerves screaming. Then he saw her. Zara was tied to a chair behind a container, tape over her mouth, blood from a cut above her eye. But her eyes, they weren't afraid, they were furious. Even tied up, she looked like she was ready to kill. The young man started talking. "Here's what's going to happen." And that's when the first shot cracked. The young man's head snapped back. He dropped. Chaos exploded. T's people moved in. Gunfire lit the pier. Min-jun sprinted to Zara, ripping tape away, cutting her restraints. "You okay?" he demanded. She spit blood. "I'm good. Untie me faster." They ran, bullets chasing them like angry ghosts. T screamed orders. Men fell. 2 bodies hit the pier hard and didn't get back up. They barely made it to the boat. As the engine roared to life and they tore across the black water, Zara's breath came ragged. "This doesn't stop. We can't outrun this forever." Min-jun's jaw clenched. "We don't run." She grabbed his face. "Then what?" "We fight every gang and every Fed until we die." He looked at her, then at T, then at the skyline shrinking behind them. And he made a decision that could save them all or damn them forever. We fight, he said, but not how they expect. Zara frowned. What are you talking about? Min-jun pulled out his phone and made a call. When the line connected, his voice went cold. Agent Lisa Chen, he said. This is Kang Min-jun. I believe we have something to discuss. T's eyes went wide. Boss, what the hell are you doing? Making a deal with the devil, Min-jun said, never taking his eyes off Zara. He listened, then nodded. When he hung up, Zara stared at him. What did you do? They want us, but they want Volkov more. He swallowed. We give them everything. Volkov, Bratva, all of it. Zara's eyes widened. And in return, Min-jun continued, they erase your warrant for good. They protect Kenya. Zara's lips trembled. You'd burn your whole world for me. Min-jun stepped closer. There is no world without you, not anymore. Zara kissed him hard, desperate. He tasted blood and tears and Salt River. When they pulled apart, she was smiling through tears. Okay then, she said. Let's burn it down together. But as T steered the boat toward the FBI meeting point, none of them noticed the second boat trailing behind. None of them saw the sniper settling into position. None of them knew Volkov had one last move, one last cruel play. And when the bullet tore through the night air, Min-jun only had time for one thought. I made a mistake. The screen goes black and in the darkness, Volkov's voice echoes like a curse. Did you really think I'd let you walk away? To be continued. If you want part 2, where the FBI deal turns into a bloodbath and Zara's past catches up in the worst way, hit like, subscribe, and comment burn it down so I know to keep going.